Could the Sox be planning on bringing in Alex Bregman? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and welcome back to day 2 coverage of the winter meetings. Everything is going wild for the Red Sox right now. There are rumors all over the place, including a report that the Red Sox are all in on all-star third baseman Alex Bregman. So we're going to be breaking that down in today's video, all the latest on that and what it could mean for the Boston Red Sox. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so pretty immediately after the Red Sox lost out on Juan Soto, the Alex Bregman rumors started to pop up. I would say, honestly, within the hour of Juan Soto signing with the Mets, Rob Bradford at WEEI and Odyssey put out this article that had the Red Sox immediately linked to Alex Bregman. We actually did talk about this a little bit yesterday, but just a refresher, he said that the Red Sox might be prioritizing Bregman in the Soto wake. He then really doubled down on this take and really brought it to the forefront, I think, in a lot of people's minds yesterday on the WEEI radio station, where he said, I think what they are focused on is Alex Bregman, and I wouldn't have said that 24 hours ago. It checks a lot of boxes, and from what I hear, this is a very, very real thing. And he's not the only one who's saying that the Red Sox are all in on Bregman right now. Tom Caron, I think you guys know exactly who Tom Caron is if you've watched any sort of Red Sox game, said yesterday on Twitter, Sox interest in Bregman is real. They're not thinking of him as a third base fit. There is currently no plan in place to move Devers to a new position, but that could change, of course. There is a ton to unpack here, right? There is a whole lot that we need to talk about with this Bregman situation, but I first want to start with the fit. How does Alex Bregman actually check boxes for the Boston Red Sox? Well, I do think there is some legitimacy here in why he would benefit this Red Sox team. Over the last 3 seasons, he has a .260 average with a .349 on base percentage and a .449 slug for a .124 OPS plus, 24% above league average production. During that time over the last 3 years, he also averaged 4.53 BWAR, which hypothetically, if we're going by averages here, would have made him the second most valuable player on the Boston Red Sox last season, according to WAR. He also averaged about 25 home runs a season at 24.6 and 154 games per season as well. From the right-hand side, that's genuinely productive stuff. He's also a really tough guy to strike out here. He was one of the hardest players to strike out in the game last season with a strikeout rate of just 13.6%, which would be a massive 20% drop off from what we got from Tyler O'Neill, the resident right-handed hitter last year, which again is something the Boston Red Sox could very well use. On top of that, he doesn't swing and miss a lot in the zone with just a 12.8% whiff rate. Last year, that was in the 98th percentile in Major League Baseball. Quite literally, only 2% of Major League players swung and missed less times in the zone than Alex Bregman did, and he doesn't chase a lot of pitches outside of the zone either, in the 82nd percentile with that as well. That's some really good signs for a Red Sox team whose biggest problem last season was the fact that they swung and missed a whole lot. He's also a right-handed hitter, so it does balance out the lineup a little bit, and he is fairly productive against lefties. He had reverse splits a little bit last year, but throughout his career, it's pretty solid against left-handed pitching, so you also bring that in as well. So if we're looking for reasons why the Red Sox are interested in Alex Bregman, I think right off the bat, yes, his bat would check off a lot of boxes for what the Red Sox are looking for. He's a pretty high WAR player. He's a fairly solid right-handed bat, a fairly consistent right-handed bat, and he's a tough guy to strike out. Those are 3 things the Red Sox could really use on this team. But he's also not a perfect fit either. I don't think there really is a perfect fit out there for what the Red Sox are looking for. I think immediately what people are going to point towards in terms of sort of red flags for a contract with Bregman has been a regression a bit in his production at the plate. Between 2022 and 2024, he's gone from an 820 OPS to a 768 OPS. That was last year. Or a 134 OPS plus down to a 118 OPS plus. Still overall a productive player, just not as productive as he was a few years ago. Still, I am going to push back on that a little bit, only because the only thing that really significantly dropped in those 3 years for Bregman was his on-base percentage, and even then, it was still fairly solid in 2023. It really only dropped in 2024. Outside of that, if you take a look at his production between 22 and 24, his average average is essentially the same. He hit about the same amount of home runs. He did have less RBIs, but that could be due to less opportunities. We saw that with Tyler O'Neill this year. He has more overall hits in less games than 2022, and he still managed 30 doubles. Bregman is still definitely a productive player, and I do think he would hit well at Fenway Park. I'm not all that concerned with how his bat is going to age. He has a great approach at the plate, so maybe even as he gets older, if the power decreases, I still think he would be able to be, at the bare minimum, a league average bat here at Fenway Park, and I think the Green Monster would help him out a lot. So I'm not really concerned with the fit overall with the bat, despite the slight regression in statistics. What I am concerned with in terms of the fit is actually where you'd put him on this roster. Tom Caron and Rob Bradford both said, look, they're not looking for Alex Bregman to be a third baseman. They're looking at Alex Bregman to be their second baseman for the foreseeable future. And to me, I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. On one hand, it does kind of make sense. It would be the least other necessary move the Red Sox could possibly make, right? They just sort of stick him at second base, and then we figure out everything else from there. But at the same time, Alex Bregman is clearly the better defender. I love Rafael Devers, but it doesn't make a ton of sense to me to hold Rafael Devers at third base and move the better defender over there to second base. Now, I don't know if this is something like when we brought Trevor Story in, which ultimately I think they brought him in as a backup plan for shortstop when they were going to let Xander Bogaerts walk. Is it sort of a similar situation here with Bregman? I'm not saying they're going to let Rafael Devers walk or trade him or anything, but is this something where they bring him in to be a second baseman for half a season until they get to the trade deadline? Then they could trade a Masataka Yoshida or someone else in order to move Rafi to DH and Bregman to third base. Is this a situation where they're going to give him a year or so? Hope that Masataka Yoshida is more tradable after the 2025 season, right? I don't know if second base would be his full home. I'm not overly concerned with what his defense would look like at second base. I actually do think he would make a really solid second baseman. Alex Cora had really high praise for him yesterday. He basically slobbered all over the guy a little bit, right? I think he's comfortable with the idea of Bregman at second base. I think the Red Sox are comfortable with the idea of Bregman at second base defensively. I just don't really understand the moving Alex Bregman off of third base when you could move Rafael Devers off of third base and really make your defense a whole lot better. I also don't love the idea of blocking Christian Campbell, who's one of the Red Sox's biggest prospects. Essentially, if the plan is, hey, Alex Bregman's going to be our second baseman for the foreseeable future, what do you do with Christian Campbell? Does he become a movable trade piece? I kind of hope not, right? Christian Campbell is sort of everything the Red Sox have been looking for in a homegrown prospect over the last couple of years. Is there a possibility of moving Campbell to the outfield? Is that something the Red Sox would be willing to do? I don't totally love that idea, but maybe the Red Sox are interested in, by the All-Star break, having an outfield where Cedon becomes a super utility player, Roman Anthony ends up in right field, Jarren Duran's in center, and Christian Campbell's in left. I don't know. Would that be a good outfield? Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. And this is the problem with this Alex Bregman thing, in my opinion, is that bringing him in raises a whole lot more questions, in my opinion, than it actually does bring a solution to this Red Sox team. Sure, it might be a solution at the plate, but everywhere else, it's a huge question mark. And on top of that, I'm really concerned with the money that would be attached to him. We know that the Houston Astros are already at 6 years, $156 million. The Willy Adames, who is 2 years younger, so that is going to play a factor in this, almost got $200 million from the San Francisco Giants. We know that the Blue Jays and the Yankees are in on Alex Bregman as well, so the bidding is going to start to get uncomfortable. Is that something the Red Sox are willing to do? Are they willing to get uncomfortable with an Alex Bregman deal? Are they going to go up to that 200 or even at or over that $200 million minimum to bring Bregman onto this Red Sox team? Is it going to be worth the money attached to Bregman to really make this team better in 2025? Honestly, I don't have an answer to that question. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. I think there are some signs that, hey, maybe signing him through his age 37 season just simply to get a name during this offseason might not be the greatest idea in the world. But I also think looking at this offseason in general, there there are going to have to be risky contracts given out. It's just simply what the market has available. If you want to look at the two premier pitchers, they're going to get a really fat payday. The Red Sox are going to have to get uncomfortable there if they want either of those guys. Anyone outside of those guys have some real question marks attached to them, whether that's Buehler or Flaherty or Evaldi or whoever you want to say. And then on the hitting side of thing, there's really no player that's going to come without any question marks. The Red Sox missed their opportunity to get the no question mark player in Juan Soto and Yamamoto last season. They're going to have to take on a guy who's going to have question marks. And if this is the guy that they think they have the least amount of question marks with, okay, fine, in my opinion. Be decisive. That's what I want to see the Red Sox do over the next few months. I want them to be decisive. I want them to come up with a game plan and stick to it to actually improve this team. I don't want this sort of, well, this guy could work if we do this and this and this, or if we squint really hard, maybe this guy could fit in this place. I want them to sit there and say, this is who we want, this is who we're going to get, and this is how the offseason's going to go. Because if they continue to be sort of indecisive and weigh all these pros and cons consistently, they're going to end up with nobody. Names are coming off the board. There's competition for every single player that you're looking for, whether that be Burns, Fried, Bregman, even a guy like Arenado, Garrett Crochet, whoever you're looking at. There's a lot of competition this offseason. You got to find a way to win the battles that you need to win, and if Bregman's that guy, then so be it. I honestly don't really have a huge problem with Bregman coming in here. I just think it raises some really fascinating questions about how the Red Sox are going to handle this over the next few years. I will say, though, this, in my opinion, I don't love the idea that this is their top priority right now. I think this is somebody that if you don't get, there are options to go out and fix. The number one priority has to be starting pitching for this Red Sox team. You should be solely focused on bringing in a Corbin Burnes or a Max Fried. It makes me nervous that the Red Sox are really pivoting hard, at least report-wise, to Bregman and sort of sitting on the back burner. We know they're not super involved in the Crochet trade, and with Fried and Burnes. That's really, really the scariest part of all of this, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What do you think about this whole Bregman stuff? Would you want him? Would you not want him? What do you think about him playing second base for the Red Sox? Let me know all your thoughts on latest Red Sox reports in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.